Carl Jung, one of the famous psychologists, developed the theory of the shadow in human nature. According to Jung, the shadow is not just the negative or bad traits that we deny, but an essential part of ourselves, containing both latent strength and creative aspects. The shadow is the parts of us that we have rejected or not accepted, such as feelings of fear, anger, or even ambition. Jung believed that understanding and accepting the shadow is not an easy task. But this process is what helps us explore and develop ourselves. When we avoid our shadow, we unknowingly allow these aspects to control our actions and emotions unconsciously. For instance, when we feel anger without recognizing its origin, we might express that anger towards those around us without any reason. But if we learn to identify and confront that anger, we can better understand its root cause and adjust our behavior more consciously. The shadow can manifest through strong reactions to others that we cannot explain, which is when the unacknowledged parts of ourselves emerge. Jung argued that reacting excessively to someone's actions is often a sign that our shadow is coming to the surface. Instead of criticizing or resisting, we should see this as an opportunity to understand and explore ourselves. Jung pointed out that the shadow is a companion in the process of personal development. Facing and accepting our shadow allows us to become stronger and more well-rounded individuals. This is the first step in the individuation process, the journey of becoming a whole and self-actualized person. According to Carl Jung, the shadow is not only the darker parts of ourselves that we try to hide or deny, but it is also where our latent strength and potential for growth lie. When we avoid our shadow, we miss out on opportunities to develop these hidden abilities, leading to an imbalance within ourselves. Jung believed that the shadow is not the enemy, but rather a natural part of every person, and recognizing and integrating it is crucial to self-actualization, an essential part of the individuation journey. The things we often try to hide, the aspects that society deems unacceptable or inappropriate, are actually messages from our deeper self. Emotions such as anger, fear, or even greed may result from avoiding our shadow aspects. Jung pointed out that confronting and working with our shadow is the key to unlocking the creative power hidden within it. Without doing so, these shadow aspects continue to control us unknowingly. For example, someone might feel hatred toward overly confident people, but in reality, this hatred reflects their own lack of self-confidence. This emotion is not the fault of others but an opportunity to recognize their own insecurities and begin changing. Jung believed that our shadow is an essential part of discovering our life's purpose. When we don't confront our shadow, we also fail to recognize our true potential. Carl Jung believed that one of the most powerful ways to work with our shadow self is through dreams. Dreams are a remarkable tool that the unconscious mind uses to communicate with us, often containing messages about shadow parts that we are unwilling to face in our waking life. The images and symbols in dreams can precisely reflect the elements we have repressed or ignored. Jung emphasized that dreams are not random but carry profound meaning, serving as a window into self-understanding that is difficult to perceive in our conscious state. When confronting the shadow in dreams, we should not simply try to explain or dismiss it, but learn to accept and understand the messages the shadow brings. If we continue to avoid these aspects, the shadow will continue to control us unconsciously. Acknowledging and working with the shadow leads to spiritual growth, allowing us to become more whole. Working with the shadow practice is not limited to dreams. It also involves observing our emotions, actions, and reactions in daily life. When we feel anger, envy, or fear, these are signs of the shadow calling for attention. If we fail to recognize these emotions, they will unconsciously influence our behavior in unhealthy ways. Thus, Jung advised us to view these emotions as opportunities to understand and accept our shadow self. Carl Jung believed that when we confront and integrate our shadow, not only will we change ourselves, but the world around us will also be profoundly transformed. The shadow is not just a part of ourselves that needs to be accepted, it is also the source of creativity, strength, and untapped potential. Jung referred to this as the process of individuation, the journey of discovering and integrating all parts of ourselves to become whole and truly live authentically. By confronting our shadow, we can uncover talents, passions, and life goals that we never recognized before. Our shadow is not something inherently bad that needs to be eliminated, it is the very thing that helps us grow. Emotions and thoughts that we deem negative, such as envy, anger, or fear, can actually be crucial parts of us that help us understand ourselves better and find purpose in life. If we do not accept these parts, we create barriers to our personal development and fail to move forward in life. When working with the shadow, Jung advises us to recognize and understand the emotions that we may be avoiding. This could be a fear of failure, unexpressed anger, or insecurities that we try to hide. Instead of feeling guilty about these emotions, we should view them as tools for self-discovery and understanding. When we face these shadow parts, we not only gain insight into what we have not accepted but can also use them to create positive change in our lives. One of the most significant examples of working with the shadow is the process of changing relationships. When we feel conflict or dissatisfaction with someone, it can be a sign that our shadow is being triggered. Jung argued that relationships are mirrors reflecting our unconscious back to us. If we react strongly to someone's actions, they may be reflecting a part of ourselves that we have not accepted. Therefore, instead of criticizing others, we should ask ourselves, what does this reaction reveal about me? By practicing shadow work, acceptance, and understanding, we can develop healthier and freer relationships. Each step in this process brings us closer to living authentically and fulfilling our life's purpose. According to Carl Jung, each person's shadow is not just something to be discarded, but rather a hidden resource that helps us understand ourselves better and discover our life purpose. One of the most important ways to understand and work with the shadow is by confronting those aspects of ourselves that we often try to hide or deny. Jung believed that emotions and behaviors we consider unacceptable, such as envy, anger, or fear, could actually be crucial elements for our development and achieving life goals. The process of working with the shadow is not an easy one. Jung referred to it as individuation, a long journey in which we learn to integrate both the light and dark sides of ourselves to become a whole person. Understanding and integrating the shadow not only helps us recognize the hidden facets of ourselves but also changes the way we perceive the world and our relationships. Jung argued that every time we face our own darkness, we can uncover passions, talents, and motivations that we had never considered before. One of the strengths of the shadow is that it helps us explore and confront aspects of ourselves that we do not want to acknowledge, such as feelings of insecurity, fear of failure, or unresolved emotions from the past. While these things may make us feel uncomfortable, they are actually opportunities for growth and progress. By facing and accepting the shadow, we can take control of our lives and live more meaningfully. Jung also believed that working with the shadow helps us develop compassion and understanding toward others. When we become more aware of our own shadow, we are more likely to accept and love those around us because we understand that everyone carries their own shadow. This is the key to building strong and healthy relationships. Ultimately, Jung believed that confronting the shadow and understanding ourselves better opens the door to living authentically and fulfilling our life's purpose. According to Carl Jung, the shadow within ourselves is not something to be denied or eliminated, but an important part that helps individuals uncover their true essence and achieve psychological maturity. By confronting the shadow, one not only learns to control negative emotions or behaviors but also recognizes previously unexplored qualities within oneself. Jung believed that human development is closely tied to the process of working with the shadow, as it is the key to self-actualization and uncovering our true life purpose. The shadow consists of aspects that we often avoid facing, such as envy, fear, or feelings of insecurity. These things are often condemned by society and considered undesirable. However, according to Jung, when we confront these shadow aspects rather than deny or evade them, we can discover the latent energy within us that we have not yet realized. These very aspects could lead us to passions, talents, and strengths that guide us toward our life's purpose. Jung explained that the process of confronting and integrating the shadow is part of the individuation process, a journey toward becoming whole. Not just the persona or mask we present to the world but a harmonious combination of light and darkness within ourselves. This process is not easy, as it requires courage, honesty, and the willingness to confront the unknown parts of ourselves. An essential part of working with the shadow is recognizing and accepting the aspects we have neglected or avoided. Jung encouraged us to examine strong emotions or disproportionate reactions we may have toward others. as these often indicate that our own shadow is emerging. For instance, if we feel anger or discomfort with someone for being overly confident, it may indicate our own lack of self-confidence. And this insecurity is the shadow we need to face. Jung believed that when we accept and work with the shadow, we not only transform our own lives but also change how we relate to others and the community. When we integrate our shadow, we become stronger, more understanding, and better able to help others do the same. This is the key to living a truly meaningful and fulfilling life. Carl Jung believed that when we work with our inner shadow, we not only discover the dark aspects of ourselves but also unlock untapped potential. Jung argued that self-development is not about eliminating negative emotions or unwanted traits but about confronting and integrating them. This process helps us realize that the shadow is not an enemy but an essential part of the journey toward self-discovery. Our shadow consists of emotional aspects or characteristics that we refuse to acknowledge, such as fear, jealousy, or anger. However, Jung suggested that these emotions are often signs that we may discover strengths and abilities we have not yet recognized. Society often teaches us that these emotions are weaknesses or wrong, and we tend to deny them. However, Jung advised that in order to grow and evolve, we need to face and accept these parts of ourselves. When we confront our shadow and learn to integrate it, we become stronger and more confident. We no longer fear the aspects we once denied. Instead, they become a source of energy that fuels creativity, determination, and authenticity. This not only helps us achieve personal goals but also enables us to build deeper connections with others. As we understand that everyone carries their own shadow, Jung also believed that by working with the shadow, we enrich not only our own lives but also inspire those around us. When we accept and integrate our shadow, we become more empathetic and capable of helping others confront their own shadows. Carl Jung believed that when we confront and integrate our inner shadow, we not only discover the parts of ourselves that have been denied but also unlock potential abilities we have yet to recognize. Jung argued that our shadow is not something negative but an essential part of being human, contributing to our identity and personal growth. When we learn to accept and integrate the shadow, we not only become stronger but also live a more authentic and meaningful life. Jung also explained that our shadow doesn't only contain negative emotions but also holds creativity, passion, and untapped potential. We often fear, deny, or feel ashamed of these parts. But Jung believed that these aspects could help us grow in ways that our rational and virtuous traits cannot. By accepting the shadow, we can use it as a tool to enhance creativity and recognize our hidden abilities. To truly work with the shadow, it is important to have the courage to acknowledge and face it. This requires not only self-awareness but also patience and openness in exploring the aspects of ourselves that have been neglected. Accepting the shadow does not mean acting on every negative impulse but understanding it better and learning how to regulate it. This process helps us develop ourselves and achieve the challenging goals in life. Carl Jung believed that each person's shadow can act as a guide, helping us explore and develop the deepest aspects of ourselves. When we confront the shadow and learn to accept the denied parts of ourselves, we not only recognize our flaws but also tap into untapped potentials. The shadow is not the enemy but an essential part of our personal development, a process that helps us become our true selves. As we begin to accept the shadow, we also start to realize that the issues or strong reactions we have towards others are often reflections of the aspects within ourselves that we have yet to face. Jung pointed out that the things we dislike in others are often qualities we refuse to face in ourselves. Recognizing this can help us not only understand ourselves better but also build healthier and deeper relationships. The key in this process is asking big questions about ourselves, such as, why am I afraid of this? What does this emotion reveal about me? Finding the answers opens up new paths for exploration, enabling us to live a life free from fear and concern about weaknesses we thought we had to hide. Jung believed that when we confront our shadow, we not only heal our wounds but also uncover our life's purpose and awaken a powerful energy from within. Carl Jung emphasized that confronting and accepting the shadow not only brings personal benefits but also has the potential to change the community around us. When individuals work with their own shadows, they not only grow psychologically but also contribute to elevating collective awareness, creating a more understanding and compassionate society. Jung believed that if each person faced the darker aspects of themselves, they would develop into more complete individuals, thus helping and inspiring others. This is evident in how human relationships become stronger when people stop blaming each other and instead seek to understand and reconcile with their own unexplored aspects. By accepting the shadow, we realize that we all have our own weaknesses and wounds, and sharing these experiences helps dissolve divisions, creating empathy and genuine connection. Jung believed that personal integration of the shadow could lead to a more peaceful society, where people understand themselves and others more deeply. In this way, the shadow becomes a powerful tool, not to cause harm but to develop character and contribute to the overall progress of humanity. Each step in understanding and accepting the shadow brings us closer to living a truly meaningful life, not just for ourselves but for the greater community. The important message from Carl Jung about confronting and accepting the shadow is the key to personal growth and living a meaningful life. The shadow is not an enemy, it is an essential part of everyone, containing qualities, passions, and untapped potential. When you dare to face aspects of yourself that you feel ashamed or afraid of, you not only discover parts of yourself that were previously hidden but also find your true purpose and inner peace. Confronting the shadow makes us stronger, not only in overcoming personal challenges but also in how we interact with others. Instead of blaming or denying, we learn to understand and accept ourselves, thus developing empathy for those around us. This process also helps you build more authentic and lasting relationships, as you no longer have to hide or conceal parts of yourself. Jung's lesson shows that wholeness comes not from eliminating the dark parts within but from learning to integrate them into our conscious life. This requires courage and honesty, but when you do so, you unlock immense power from accepting and being true to yourself. This journey is not only for personal development but also to create a positive impact on society.